Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Madekurozwa. It's really nice to be here. A lot of the stuff I was going to talk about has already been covered. I'll start off with a brief introduction. So I'm currently an image processor at Ocuity, a company up in Reading. And a little bit about my background. I'm Zambian born, Zimbabwean by descent. Spent a lot of time between Zambia and Zimbabwe, which you can probably see by the first image, which represents the border between the two countries. Moved to the UK after my GCSEs, did my undergraduate and PhD at Imperial College London. My undergraduate was in biomedical engineering. So in this department, a lot of the people I look up to and a lot of the people that have been huge influences in my life are currently in this room and in the department. My PhD was in ocular biomechanics in the same department. And on to the next slide. So I'll talk a little bit about my PhD experience just to let you know the experience that I went through and what I went through during my time, just so that you know what PhDs are like. There is no typical PhD. PhDs are all different. And I'll try and mix up my presentation a little bit because a lot of the things I was about to talk about have already been covered, which is the benefit of going in the middle. So my supervisors were the brilliant Professor Daryl Overby and Dr. Van Battenberg Sherwood. Part of the experience of being a PhD and part of the reason why it's okay to fail is because there's a detachment between who's funding you, who's paying for you to be here, and the people that are supervising you. And so long as you turn up and so long as you do your work, you're guaranteed that they'll be willing to stick with you for 4 years. So having that safety and having that background is always very important. Of course, as was mentioned before, the colleagues and the people that you're going to work with on a daily basis are just as important as your supervisors. And all of this leads into the work that you do with the people that you're with. For my PhD, I learned how to build systems, built a system, did planned experiments to use that system, to use those systems with, and then perform the experiments. Being part of every part of research is an experience you won't get in any part of R&D. And it's very important because you get to live with your mistakes for 3-4 years and you get to correct them and you get to learn from them. And it's being efficient, learning how to take your time, learning how to think about what your next steps are and how you're going to do things is a very important thing. And if you're lucky, you get publications, which I was lucky to have. And if you don't get publications, you still get to write a thesis. Writing a thesis and doing publications are important because they help you with your writing, they help you with your communication. Ideas are important, but communicating those ideas is almost as important as the ideas themselves. So having done all of that, I also had the opportunity of going for conferences. Again, there is no such thing as a typical PhD, so maybe this won't be your experience. Going to conferences is important for the exact same thing as mentioned before, being able to communicate your ideas, seeing what people think about your ideas, getting feedback. As was mentioned before, sometimes you are introducing a new idea that hasn't been thought of before, or you're going against the grain and you really want to test the waters, know how people respond to the way you present, how people respond to your delivery of the idea and how far you're going with it. Are you going to release the whole thing in one go? Or are you going to break it up into chunks? And finally, there is life outside Imperial. So the location, London. London has a lot of beautiful things around it. You've got theater, you've got art, you have, that's the Harry Potter thing, which is just outside London, but still it counts. And of course, you have opportunities after your PhD to be part of schemes like this. I'd like to keep the conversation going. One of the most important things is this thing called the hidden job market. And what that means is approximately more than 60% of jobs go without being advertised. And the reason where do they go? Well, they go to people that have had experiences in networks, that have gone for conferences, that have reached out to other people on LinkedIn, on different places. So reach out to people inside of the scheme, email if you have any questions, and yeah, keep the conversation going. Thank you.